Hi book friends, this is Kat. Welcome back to my channel. So today's video is my February TBR video. Super excited because this month I'm also going to be co-hosting the Fae-Bruary Readathon, and I'm very excited about it. I even tried to put some princess books right here, at least the ones that I have read. But I will talk all about the readathon, about what I'm going to be reading towards the end of my rolls. Before we get started though, you need to know how I did in January. So in January, I had rolled 5 times. And so one of my rolls, I had to read a book based off of a random picture, which was like a ladder in this well. And for that one, I thought rescue. The ladder is rescuing you out of this well or this hole. And so I read Rescue by Jennifer A. Nielsen, and I did complete that. The next roll I had was a challenge roll, and that I landed on a Disney couple. Well, technically not Disney, but they were a couple, and that is Anastasia and Dimitri. So that's a non-reading prompt, and I had to wear my makeup based off of any of the book characters that I've read this past month. And so I tried today putting on some blue, what's it called, eyeshadow, and it has some glitter in it, but I had my inspiration come from the character in the Wonderland Trials, and it was like Maddie Hatter. And so she was just very colorful in what she wore and what she put on, and so that was my source of inspiration. Plus it does match the cover of the Wonderland Trials book, so I'm counting it as complete. My third roll was 20 and 2025. So for this one, I picked Shadow of the Storm, and this was also my pick for my January's challenge for my own yearly challenge, which is the Biblical Fiction Retelling Challenge, so the BFC. And I did complete that book. The next prompt I had was like the New Year prompt, which is basically a new to me author. And I also had the genre ring, so I had to pick a genre, which was classic. And so for that, I chose Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie, and I am not done, but I'm past the 100 mark. So I'm on page 142, and actually my husband and I are reading this together at night, and so that is still over the 100 page mark, so it's counted complete. And then the last roll was, this was basically a word of the year, and it was wassail, which was basically caroling together. And so I thought caroling for people, that's what you carol, you would go sing for people. And so for that, I picked Made for People by Justin Whitmell Early, and I'm not completed the book. However, I'm on page 123, so again, I'm at the 100 page mark. So therefore, I have completed my TBR for this month, so no punishments. And if I complete this next month, then I'll be able to get a reward. So now that that is all out of the way, let's go ahead and see my rolls for my TBR for February. Okay, book friends, I am playing with Tinkerbell because it is Fae-Bruary this month coming up. So she's going to be my little player. Let me move this out. And I'm going to roll with a 6-sided die. So I'm going to put it right here. All right. Roll number 1. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Valentine's Day. Okay, roll number 1 was Valentine's Day, which is another random picture generator. So as you can see, I generated 3 times and I landed on this page, which are a bunch of snails. So I had to get creative. So I thought maybe where I would find a lot of snails or seashells. And I'm also going to be using this book later for a challenge. But the book I chose is Shelter of the Most High by Connellan Cassette. And this is the second book in her series, Cities of Refuge series. So this one, you follow a girl named Sophia, and she is, I think it says she's pagan during this time, so not a Hebrew or Israelite, and she lives in this city that is by the sea. I want to say it's Italy, but she's living by the sea, and something happens to where she has to go basically into Canaan or to this city of refuge for some reason. And then the other perspective is this man named Eaton, and he has lived in the city of refuge. And so he kind of meets Sophia, and then it's like their love story, I'm assuming. So that's kind of the gist of it. And this is my pick for the picture because the seashells, you're usually by somewhere where there's moisture, it's wet, it's probably by the beach, and so that's kind of how I'm making that connect, seashells by the coast. So, okay, let's go to roll number 2. Roll number 2. 1. Okay, so this is a genre pick, and this is snow day or cold weather. So cold tones on the cover. And mix them around and see what genre this has to be in. Let's go with this one. Sci-fi, dystopian, or fantasy. Yay. Okay. That is the genre I have to read. Perfect. Roll number 2. I landed on the snowflake, which is cold weather, or for this prompt, it's cold tones on the cover. And in addition to that, it was a genre ring. And so, as you saw, I had gotten the genre sci-fi, dystopian, fantasy. And so this one works out because the book that I'm going to choose for this one is The Queen of Snow, and this is by Laura Burton, and I think Jessie something, but that's the picture. And this is a Snow Queen inspired retelling, and that's kind of what I know about it. And I think there's world jumping, so I think like a guy comes from this world and jumps into this fairy tale world, I think. But I know it is something about the Snow Queen, so we shall see. But this would fit like sci-fi fantasy, the genre. And the cool tones, it's still like grays and blacks, and so. Okay, let's go to roll number 3. Okay, roll number 3. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, a 20 in 2025. Roll number 3, I landed on 20 in 2025 yet again. So, not mad at that. I'm getting through my books. But the one that I chose is going to be The Golden Braid by Melanie Dickerson. And this is part of her Hang in 9 series. This is a Rapunzel retelling. And I am slowly working my way through the series. I'm trying to buy the books as I'm going along with the series. So that's why it's been taking me a while, because I'm not always, buying books. But I'm excited to get into this. So this, I can't wait to see how she reimagines this Rapunzel retelling. Now we're going to roll number 4. Roll number 4. 3. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, midnight. Midnight is to read a book over 400 pages. Rule number 4 was Midnight, and that has to be a book over 400 pages. So this one's gonna hurt a little just because we are in a shortened month. So I'm going to choose this book, and it's really intimidating for me. I'll just show you what it is, but it is A Voice in the Wind by Francine Rivers, and I'm trying to cover up the library thing, but yes, this book is very intimidating to me because I heard that it is sad, and I am not really into books that are sad in any way. This follows basically Christians during the time of the Roman Empire, and basically they're being persecuted, and there are like gladiators, I think, in the Colosseum, where some are tortured in there, and yeah, so I am intimidated, I am nervous, but I know a lot of people love this series, and it's like one of their favorite series. So we'll see, but it is about 507. No, this is the second book. Okay. 498 pages. So well over 400. We'll see. I'm going to try to read it maybe a little bit at a time during the month. So like daily, just maybe set a goal for like, I don't know, 50 pages, or I don't know how many pages, but like a day, and then just kind of go through that. We'll see. But if you have read it, please let me know what you thought about it. You know, I don't really like gory things, so if it is gory, maybe I should just skip out on it. I haven't read anything from Francine Rivers that I found like gory, but I know that she can really write like sad scenes, but she also has like this powerful way of writing. So I guess if you think I will like it, or maybe not, or you want to offer some encouragement down in the comments, feel free. But yes, that is on the TBR list. Okay, let's go to roll number 5. Roll number 5. 4. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this one's cool. Or Christmas Day. And, oh, never mind. This one is not the one I thought it was, but it's okay. But this is Christmas Day, and this is a spouse pick. And I have to do a random genre pick for this one. So let's go ahead and see the random genre. So mixing it. And let's go with this one. Didn't see it. So let's see what it is. Oh, no. Okay. It's a classic. Okay. Great.
Well, I can't make you read the Scarlet Letter.
Okay. Should be our final roll. Roll 6. 3. All right, that's game. As you can see, roll number 5 was my final roll, and for that one, I landed on spouse pick, and I also landed on the genre ring again, and it was classic, which the game really wants me to read classics. But my husband did get to see it on my small TBR list, and he ended up picking Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne. And I have never read Winnie the Pooh before. I grew up watching like the original Winnie the Pooh movie, you know, so I think it's adorable in that. I think I saw Christopher Robin, that movie as well, and I thought that was cute too. So I am very much looking forward to this, and this actually is going to help me with another reading challenge, which I didn't tell him that this was part of a reading challenge. I just kind of waited for him to look at my classics, and I think he was being nice to me because he saw that I had an over 400 page book, so he picked one of the smallest ones, and I'm glad he did. But this library copy is actually really beat up. So, but anyway, that is on the list. Okay, so those were my roles. And it is time to talk about the challenges, and then I will get into the readathon. So I have my reading journal here. The reading challenge I'm doing this year, one of them is Alma's challenge at Alma's book journey, and her challenge is Journey Through Time. So for January, I was supposed to read Peter Pan, and January's not over yet, so I will finish this. But that was published in 1910s. I think it was like 1911 it was published. And so for February, it's the 1920s. And so I'm going to try to go through her challenge by publication year instead of just books set in this particular decade. I wasn't sure originally if we were allowed to do that. I thought it had to be like the publication year, but then when I saw her recent videos, she mentioned that it could be set in that decade, but oh well, I'm just gonna have an extra challenge and trying to find a book published in that decade. So what I'm ending up putting in this slot is I'm gonna put on Winnie the Pooh, because this was published in the year 1926. So that fits that. And it's kind of funny because this will be the second book that is like a children's book that I'm reading. But anyway, I'm glad that I'm reading books that I'm enjoying. So, and then for Katie's challenge, I'm still going through that for this month. I actually marked off 4 boxes, so I think I'm doing pretty well for that one. For my biblical retelling challenge, this last month I read, I've been reading through Exodus, and I'm almost done with that. So this morning I read chapter 32, so I'll finish Exodus this month, if not maybe by the end of this week. And for that I read Shadow of the Storm. So for this month, my devotional reading time, I'm going to read Joshua. And so the book that I'm reading is going to be Shelter of the Most High by Connell and Cassette. So that should work because it is a city of refuge, and Joshua mentions cities of refuge in there. And I believe in the first book, it mentioned Joshua in there. So I'm assuming that it's going to mention Joshua in this one. So we shall see. So now let's go to the Fae-Bruary Readathon prompts. So I'm going to go left to right and just tell you real quickly what I'll be reading. But Quest has a journey, that prompt. I am going to read The Golden Braid by Melanie Dickerson for that one because I believe that they are going to go on a journey. The back talked about how the mom keeps uprooting her daughter every time a man shows interest towards her daughter. So that is a journey where you're having to start over and over. The next prompt is Magical Creature has an animal. And so I'm going to choose The Looking Glass Illusion or something like that by Sarah Ella, and this is the second book in her duology of the Curious Realities series. And there was mention of a Jabberwocky, and the characters, like the Cheshire Cat character is in the first book, and he's going to return in the second book, I'm hoping. So there's that one. The next prompt is Hidden Identity, new to you author. And so that's going to be Queen of Snow because I haven't read anything by Laura Burton or the other author. The next prompt is Prince, more than one POV. And I'm going to put Shelter of the Most High for this one. But if I happen to find another book that fits this prompt better, I will. But I believe the first book you had the woman's perspective and then the guy's perspective, and I believe that's what this book is going to do as well, but we shall see if I'm correct. The next prompt is True Love's Kiss, a clean fairy tale retelling, and for that I am going to put in the golden braid for this one. The next prompt is faithful companion, favorite genre. And so for that, I'm going to go with my favorite genre, which is biblical fiction, but I like historical fiction as well. So this one counts for both, and that is Shelter of the Most High. The next prompt is beauty, something beautiful. And for that, I am going to put, and I will get to this one, The Princess Pact by Melanie Cellier. This book has been on a TBR multiple times, but it's going to be on this one, and I will get to this one. But it's a beautiful cover. I'm slowly making my way through the Four Kingdoms series. The next prompt is Stroke of Midnight, a booktuber rec. And I was so happy that Reese did a video where she gave recommendations because she mentioned one of her all-time favorite books, The Silent Songbird by Melanie Dickerson. Okay, last prompt was Slay the Dragon, meant to read last year, and Queen of Snow, I meant to read this last year, and I didn't get to it, so that's gonna go on the TBR. Normally we go right into my husband's roles, but before we do that, I'm gonna do something a little different. So I do a series called Read Around the World. By the time you see this video, I think I should have my January's vlog up. But I'm noticing that I want to change that up a little bit. And so I'm going to just tweak it. So I'm going to pick my country or countries in my videos for my TBR videos, essentially. And the reason why I'm doing that is instead of just having like a couple of an hour one weekend trying to find books to match like what I picked out for the countries, I want to be able to have a whole month to, or even just a couple of days even, to find a book that matches like the country or set in the country or is written by an author from that country. The one that I ended up picking out of the jar. So I figured this would be the best way. And then I could also plan like events or something, maybe even recipes. So that way when I do my vlogs, I have something in there like B-roll instead of trying to stress about what I can find for that weekend. So that's what I'm gonna change. I'm gonna pick a country. So, okay. So I'll pick one country. Let's go ahead and see where we will be going for this month in book form. And this looks like, okay, this is Malaysia. So let me go ahead and pull that second country out. Okay. Let's do this one. And then this one says the Gambia. Stay tuned if that interests you and seeing the Reading Around the World vlog. Okay, so let me go ahead and tell you real quick what my husband was supposed to read last month, and then I'll show you his roles for this month. So my husband last month was supposed to read The Fateful Lightning, and this was for the prompt Midnight, which is over 400 pages, and he is not done. This is a huge book, but he's on page 128, so that counts. The second book he was supposed to read, he landed on Cold Weather, which is to read a book with cold tones on the cover, or cool tones on the cover, and he landed on a genre ring, and that was a classic. So he ended up picking Peter Pan, and that's why we're reading it together. So, and you know that we met that 100 page mark. So let's go ahead and see how his roles did for this month. Okay, so these are my husband's roles. This is his little player dash, and he's going to roll with a 12-sided die. Do you want to roll in there? Okay, roll 1. That is a 5. Okay, by Valentine's Day. That is a random picture generator. Okay, roll number 2. That is a 4.
Oh, yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, let me make sure I get that straight. Okay, and that is, a challenge prompt. Roll number 3.
And final.
Oof. This is not his month. It is a 1. Okay, 4th roll. 10. There you go.
There's what we need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, that was close.
Okay.
3.
And he doesn't have to pick anything for the final one.
We could just redo that, right?
So for his rolls, he landed on a random picture generator, and I'm going to show you his picture. This was for the prompt Valentine's Day, by the way. And so you can see it is a tunnel. So something with a tunnel, train tracks leading into it. He hasn't picked out a book for this one yet. So the second one he got was Challenge, which he has to pick 2 books, but yet he'll spin the wheel. And I will insert that clip. Editing cat here. I have the 2 challenge books for my husband. The first one is that he chose for his challenge is Sons and Soldiers by Bruce Henderson. This book basically, I'm just going to read the back to you, but this book says, after Hitler came to power, some desperate Jewish families were able to send their sons out of Nazi-occupied Europe to America. When the United States entered World War II, these young men returned as soldiers to fight for their adopted homeland and for the families they had left behind. They did so knowing full well what the Nazis would do to them if they were captured. Known as the Ritchie Boys, they became one of the U.S. Army's greatest secret weapons, for they possessed a unique mastery of the German language, culture, and psychology, all of which they used as members of elite intelligence teams assigned to every major combat unit in Europe. They interrogated German prisoners of war and collected key tactical intelligence on enemy strength, troop, and armored movements and defensive positions that saved American lives and helped the Allies win the war. So that is one of his selections. The other book that he is pitting against it is The Long Patrol, and this is by Brian Jacques, I guess, or Jacques. Basically, this doesn't have a synopsis, but it's part of the Redwall series, I'm assuming. So it says A Tale from Redwall. So these 2 books he is pitting against each other. So let's go ahead and see if he is going to read one of them or if he is going to have an activity he needs to do. Depending on what activity he gets, I might have to alter it just because a lot of them are very specific towards me. So let's go ahead, pull up the wheel, and we're going to shuffle. So shuffle, and I think I shuffled it. Let me just shuffle it for good measure. Okay, here we go. Oh my goodness, he was so close, but he has to read one of these books. So he landed on Rasputin. So that means, let me go ahead and go through my spreadsheets. So Rasputin is the prompt highest rated. So I'm going to have to see what's highest rated on Goodreads. Let me do that right now. So The Long Patrol is sitting at 4.14 stars. And I noticed it is number 10 in the Redwall series. I hope that doesn't bother him, but I don't believe that it would. Okay, and the Sons and Soldiers is sitting at 4.38 stars. So this book is indeed the highest rated book. So I will let him know that this is a book he's going to have to read for this month. Now, in the previous section, it does talk about how he skipped a prompt, and that's just because he won last month by completing his books, and so, or at least completing up to the 100-page mark. And so that's why one of his rewards is he could skip any prompt. So that was his pick. So going back to Pest Cat. Hopefully he got an activity and not a book. The next role he landed on was 20 in 2025, and so this is just a book that he's been meaning to get to. Okay, Editing Cat here again, and for this one, he picked Habits of the Household by Justin Whitmell Early, and for this prompt, we decided to go with a book that he's been meaning to get to. As you can see, he has already started it. He has started this, I think, in a TBR, I don't remember what month, last year, and he never finished it. So this is a perfect time for him to finish it. He is picking it up right now, so he can slowly make his way through it. But he does like to take his time with nonfiction, so that's why it's kind of taken him a while. So that one would count. Okay, back to Pest Cat. And then the final role was the end, which he doesn't have to pick anything for that. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I know it was a little lengthier and a lot more kind of talking through about this month, but I hope that you guys will be joining us for our reading sprints that we're doing, or live streams. We are kicking off live streams for February, and then I am planning to do a live stream as well. I will post that announcement in my community tab, and maybe if I can figure out how to do like that premiere thing, I will do that. But I'm hoping to do that early February, maybe Valentine's Day week, early that week. We shall see. Anyway, I hope that you guys have a great rest of the day, and I will see you in another video. Bye.